Published 0745 EDT, the 25th of October 2017. Updated 0902 EDT, the 25th of October 2017. President Donald Trump blasted the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party for funding the dirty dossier of salacious material about him, and in an unusual turn called himself the victim. The president tweeted about the dossier Wednesday morning, hours after it was reported that the Clinton camp helped bankroll research that led to the Golden Showers dossier on Trump. Clinton campaign DNC paid for research that led to the anti-Trump fake news dossier. The victim here is the president, Trump wrote. He ended his missive with a Twitter handle of his favorite network, @Fox News. The tweet did not go after Clinton personally, mentioning her campaign. Hours after it was revealed Clinton campaign lawyer Mark Elias hired research firm Fusion GPS back in April 2016 to look into allegations of Trump's ties to Russia. The Washington Post reported on the latest revelations of how the dossier got paid for. President Donald Trump enters the Oval Office for an event at the White House October 24, 2017 in Washington, D.C. President Trump honored the 8 winners of the National Minority Enterprise Development Week Awards program during the Oval Office event. On Wednesday he blasted the Clinton campaign and the DNC for funding the infamous dirty dossier. Revelations about funding of the infamous dossier, which laid out an array of alleged Russia business connections as well as the unproven and salacious material about Trump's alleged conduct in a Moscow hotel room, came days after the president pushed for the release of information about it. Trump tweeted on Saturday that the FBI and Justice Department should immediately release who paid for it after Fusion GPS co-founder Peter Fritsch and partner Thomas Katan last week invoked the U.S. Constitution's Fifth Amendment, which protects Americans against self-incrimination. Elias is one of the nation's top Democratic campaign lawyers, and the report puts the funding source within the Clinton campaign, although it has previously been reported that Democrats funded the dossier research that began with a GOP donor funding stream during the contested primaries. President Trump called him a victim of the infamous dossier of research that Democrats helped pay to produce after being engaged by Clinton's campaign lawyer, Fusion GPS. The Washington-based research firm then hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to dig up the unconfirmed dirt on Trump. Clinton's lawyer and his law firm Perkins Coie continued to fund the research until October 2016, just days before the presidential election. The research was previously funded by an unknown anti-Trump Republican donor during the primary, but Clinton's campaign then paid for it to be finished. Sources would not confirm how much was paid to Fusion GPS, but said the campaign and DNC shared the cost. Scroll down for video. Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped pay for research that led to the Golden Showers dossier on Donald Trump. To Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie $5.6 million legal fees during the period of June 2015 to December 2016, according to campaign finance records, while the DNC paid $3.6 million in legal and compliance consulting, according to the Post, but it's unclear how much of that was related to Fusion GPS. The FBI also is said to have agreed to pay Steele to continue gathering intelligence but reneged on the agreement after his cover was blown. Steele's findings and research were then submitted to Elias via Fusion GPS, the Post reports. It is not clear what information, or how much of it, was provided to Clinton's campaign. It also isn't clear which people within Clinton's campaign and the DNC knew of Steele and Fusion GPS. The research resulted in the now infamous dossier that came up with the discredited claims about Trump. The dossier has become a focus of congressional probes into Russian interference in last year's election. The two men had been subpoenaed to appear in a closed-door session before the House Intelligence Committee but refused to speak at every turn. Committee Chair Rep. Devin Nunes has been trying to determine who paid Fusion GPS for the opposition research that formed the basis of the dossier. Officials behind the now discredited dossier plead the Fifth Justice Department and/or FBI should immediately release who paid for it, Trump tweeted. Trump had also speculated on Twitter last week that the dossier may have been funded by Democratic officials. Workers of firm involved with the discredited and faked dossier take the Fifth. Who paid for it? Russia. The FBI, the Dems or all, Trump said last Thursday. Fusion GPS, Elias, and spokesman for Clinton's campaign and the DNC would not comment. Clinton's campaign lawyer Mark Elias above in August 2016 hired research firm Fusion GPS back in April 2016 to look into allegations of Trump's ties to Russia. Clinton's lawyer continued to fund the firm's research into Trump until October 2016, just days before the presidential election. Trump tweeted on Saturday that the FBI and Justice Department Department should immediately release who paid for it. Prior to the Post report, Elias had earlier vigorously denied being involved in the Trump dossier, according to New York Times reporter Ken Vogel. "When I tried to report this story," Clinton campaign lawyer Mark Elias pushed back vigorously, saying your sources are wrong. Vogel tweeted shortly after the Post report surfaced, "The dossier contends that the Russian government amassed compromising information about Trump but had also been engaged in a years-long effort to support and assist him." Compiled by the British spy, Christopher Steele, the dossier circulated among Washington journalists last year until BuzzFeed first published it in January without verification. Trump branded the entire document fake news. Among its claims are that Russian officials have videos of the president cavorting with prostitutes, which were filmed during Trump's 2013 visit to a luxury Moscow hotel for the Miss Universe contest. It also contains a highly unusual report, also never substantiated, that the call girls performed a golden shower routine that involved them urinating on a hotel bed as a sign of disgust for then President Barack Obama. The FBI has worked to corroborate the document, and in a sign of its ongoing relevance to investigators, Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team, which is probing potential coordination between Russia and the Trump campaign, weeks ago questioned the former British spy who helped compile the claims in the dossier. The dossier, compiled by British spy Christopher Steele, contends that the Russian government amassed compromising information about Trump but had also been engaged in a years-long effort to support and assist him. Fusion GPS co-founder Peter Fritsch left-wing partner Thomas Katan Wright took the fifth on Wednesday rather than talking to Congress about the dossier prior to the Post report. Elias had earlier vigorously denied being involved in the Trump dossier, according to New York Times reporter Ken Vogel. 2016 June 20. The dossier is first dated June 20 and had contained several unverifiable periodic reports made over the summer, according to Mother Jones. It was sent in dated sections from a former Western intelligence officer to the FBI and alleged Russia had enough to blackmail Trump. It alleged that Trump had been cultivated by Russian officials for at least 5 years. It also claimed that the Kremlin had compromising material related to sexually perverted acts Trump performed at a Moscow Ritz-Carlton where former President Barack Obama once stayed. Dossier also alleged that Trump's inner circle was accepting a regular flow of intelligence from the Kremlin on Hillary Clinton. July 27, Trump asks Russian hackers to find Clinton's 30,000 emails during a press conference. July 31, Kremlin weighing whether to release more information about Clinton. Late July, the FBI opens its investigation into Russia's interference in the election, and the Trump campaign's possible role in it. August 27, the News. Sen. Harry Reid sent a letter to then FBI Director James Comey and called for a full investigation and public disclosure. He wrote, "The evidence of a direct connection between the Russian government and Donald Trump's presidential campaign continues to mount and has led Michael Morrell, the former acting Central Intelligence Director, to call Trump an unwitting agent of Russia and the Kremlin." September 23, U.S. intelligence officials began investigating links between Trump advisor Carter Page and the Russian government, Yahoo News reported. Page had extensive business links in Russia and is a former Merrill Lynch investment banker in Moscow. October 7, the Obama administration publicly accuses Russia of directing the recent compromises of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations to affect the U.S. election. October 30, Reid sent Comey another letter demanding that Trump's possible ties to Russia be fully investigated, and he cited the existence of explosive information that the FBI has in its possession. November 3, 2016, Russian oligarch Dmitry Rybolovlev flies into Charlotte, North Carolina on a private plane. Trump's plane lands on the tarmac not long after and parks next to Rybolovlev, whose plane stays in Charlotte for 22 hours afterward. Trump rallies in nearby city Concord. November 8, Trump wins the election to become the 45th President of the United States. November 10, President Barack Obama warns Trump during a meeting at the White House that National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant General and Defense Intelligence Agency chief, is a problem. November 18, during a security meeting in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Sen. John McCain hears about the documents and dispatches a former U.S. official to meet the source of the documents and gather more information. December 9, McCain meets Comey, gives the FBI director the documents, The Guardian reported. December 13, this is the last date of the memos from the dossier written by the British source. December 29, the Obama administration issues new sanctions on Russia in retaliation for Russia's hacking of the Democratic National Committee in the summer and other efforts to interfere with the U.S. election. 2017 January 10, Obama and Trump were both given a 12-page summary of the dossier, CNN reported. BuzzFeed News then reported on the dossier and published it in full about how it alleges Trump's deep ties with Russia. January 19, The New York Times reported that intercepted communications between Trump associates and Russians are being investigated as part of the FBI's inquiry into Russia's election meddling. January 27, Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, holds a meeting with Russian-American businessman Felix Sater and Ukrainian lawmaker Andriy Artemenko to discuss a back-channel peace plan for Russia and Ukraine. February 13, Flynn resigns as national security advisor after reports emerge that he misled Vice President Mike Pence. March 2, Attorney General Jeff Sessions recuses himself from the investigation into whether the Trump campaign communicated with Russia. March 4, without presenting evidence, Trump tweets that Obama had Trump Towers wires tapped during the presidential campaign. March 15, Rep. Devin Nunes, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, announced that the committee had not found any evidence to support Trump's wiretapping claim. Of March 20, Comey said he has no evidence to support Trump's wiretapping claim. He confirmed that an investigation into Russia's election-related meddling includes an examination of contacts between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign. Late March, Flynn asks for immunity in exchange for testifying to the House and Intelligence Committees investigating Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. April 1, Trump tweets, "It is the same fake news media that said there is no path to victory for Trump that is now pushing the phony Russia story. A total scam." April 3, Trump calls Putin to condemn a St. Petersburg, Russia terrorist attack. April 6, Nunes steps aside from the Russia investigation, because he himself is under investigation. April 11, Page is now under investigation by the FBI, who obtained court permission to monitor his communications. The U.S. believed he was acting as a Russian agent. April 27, the Pentagon Inspector General is investigating whether Flynn violated military rules by accepting foreign payments from Russia and Turkey, which is disclosed by a House committee. May 8, Trump tweets Russia-Trump collusion story is a total hoax. May 9, the president fires Comey from his position at the FBI. May 10, Trump meets with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak at the White House. May 15, The Washington Post reported that Trump shared highly classified information about Islamic State with the Russian diplomats during a meeting the previous week. May 17, former FBI Director Robert S. Mueller III is appointed the special counsel to take over the Justice Department's Russia investigation. Late May, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner is revealed to be under investigation by the FBI. According to the Post, he proposed a private back channel between the Kremlin and Trump's transition team during a meeting in December. June 8, Comey testifies before the Senate Intelligence Committee and answers questions related to Russia meddling into the U.S. election. June 13, Sessions denies colluding with Russia during Senate testimony. June 14, The Washington Post reported that Trump is being investigated for possible obstruction of justice by Mueller. September, several news outlets, including Politico and BuzzFeed, are suing under the Freedom of Information Act to get records about how the federal government tried to vet the claims in the dossier. October 24, it's revealed that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped bankroll research that led to the Golden Showers dossier on Donald Trump. Clinton's campaign lawyer Mark Elias hired research firm Fusion GPS back in April 2016 to look into allegations of Trump's ties to Russia, according to The Washington Post.